Procrastination is a challenging hurdle that forces your child to struggle with deadlines, makes time management seem overwhelming, and turns even the simplest tasks into daunting challenges. In this article, I'm going to give you some of the best tips on how to beat procrastination. With these strategies, your child can outperform peers and maximize their productivity. Why am I the right person to teach you about overcoming procrastination? Here's my experience. I was the master of putting things off. Homework was like a mountain to me. Whether at school or home, teachers and family members began to see a change in my behavior. They looked at me with concern, probably because every time they saw me, I was rushing to complete last-minute tasks. I also didn't care much about deadlines and floated through my school years without any solid plan. Then, one fateful day, as I was rushing through my usual pile of delayed work, a book caught my eye. The cover showcased Solving the Procrastination Puzzle by Tim Cycle. Curiosity piqued. I picked up the book without knowing what was about to happen next. With my already overwhelmed mind, reading that for just a few minutes was enough for me. Damn, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Its practical solutions were eye-opening. Most of the other similar advice didn't impact me that much, but understanding the psychology of procrastination made me feel empowered. I was only wishy-washy, but the book suggested concrete actions. It intrigued me. Couldn't ignore these effective strategies anymore. I closed the book, stepping out of my room for some fresh thinking. I needed to reassess my approach. As I was contemplating, my eyes unintentionally locked onto the calendar, mocking me with its unchecked days. It dared to reflect my unorganized schedule. I stared at those blank spaces, determination taking me over. In that decisive moment, a simple but critical question pierced my mind. How much of an underachiever can someone be who never plans ahead? For my realization came into play, which was the beginning of my journey to productivity. Understanding procrastination had a big positive impact on me. This knowledge is what helps your child do that extra bit of work, fuels them to spend 10 minutes more on a task, and these 10 minutes decide everything, whether they'll remain average or excel. However, unlike laziness or distraction, facing procrastination is quite challenging. Our ability to overcome it is equally important. But is tackling procrastination truly that difficult? What if I told you that your child can learn to manage their time efficiently whenever they want to stay on top of their tasks and surpass others? Here's how you do it. After trying lots of methods, this one became my favorite. What I did was create a schedule in my mind, gave it structure, and considered it my guide. Then, I listed out the tasks that it would include, regardless of how I felt, and that I would normally avoid. Now, whenever I feel lazy and don't want to do something, I know that my schedule would still push me through, regardless of my feelings, and keep me on track. This method leverages the natural desire for the structure that we've developed. The structured schedule you'll create is basically your guide. Both you and it have the same goals, but the difference lies in action. It will prompt your child to wake up early and complete tasks to achieve their goals. The most staggering thing is that your child can do the same and perform at a remarkable level by following this schedule and competing against their natural tendency to procrastinate. Your child will constantly strive to improve, and they'll unlock a new version of themselves. For more details, check out the list of productivity tips. For most of the time, procrastination has been considered a negative trait. The reason for that is most people don't know how to overcome procrastination effectively. They allow their avoidance to control them, and as a result, they can't achieve their full potential due to this limiting habit. They face challenges in their academics and personal growth, and they're unaware of the incredible potential they have. If you tackle it like any other average person, your child might not succeed. You must guide them to manage their time effectively. Instead, help them to fuel their inner drive and motivation. The structured schedule method works best in this scenario. Your child seizes their reluctance from outside and uses it to fuel their growth. I still remember, after reading that book, I was incredibly motivated and was working each day diligently. Can you guess what happened next? Yes, as expected, my motivation only lasted for a few days. I had returned to my normal routine as before because my initial enthusiasm had faded. But if I had known what I'm about to share now, I would have been much more productive. Procrastination solutions alone aren't enough. If understanding procrastination is a component that gets your child started on the path to efficiency, then what are the other things that keep them going and make them successful? Discipline, and dedication. Discipline comes from doing things consistently that your child knows are necessary but might find boring or challenging. Easier said than done because it's not easy when you say, "Yeah, I'm going to change my routine starting today. I'm going to be disciplined." It's also a form of motivation, and motivation tends to fade away. But the good thing is, discipline is a skill, and every skill can be learned and improved through effort. Several studies also show that children with self-discipline are happier because, with discipline and self-control, they actually accomplish more of their goals. Now, let's dig a little deeper. Taking the first step is the hardest, even more so than the subsequent ones. A majority of children fall into this phase. This isn't surprising considering that many children dream of being successful. Can you guess how many of them actually achieve that result? I'll leave that to you. Most of us wait for the perfect moment to start, believing that it will only be effective if we're fully prepared. But the truth is actually the reverse. Action precedes perfect readiness. You have to start somewhere and get the process going. Regardless of what your child is trying to achieve, the only thing they need to get started is that first step. That small step turns into another, and then another, and it won't take long for momentum to build. Before you know it, they're on their way. Most children can't reach their goals because the path is difficult, and many simply can't persist. It takes repetition doing those tasks they might not enjoy. I failed at a lot of things simply because I lacked consistency. I wasn't even aware of that fact until I learned it the hard way. The child from the past might have started a project only to quit after a few days because it's tough and requires effort. What they didn't know then was that it's okay to feel challenged. It's a vital part of the process that will eventually lead them to success. If they persist through this challenge for a long enough time, they'll achieve their goals. Nobody is born disciplined. Like every skill, discipline requires daily practice and repetition. Here's a method that, if used correctly, will serve your child at its best to become extremely disciplined. First, choose a task that your child finds challenging. Don't deceive yourself and make no excuses. Select the first task that comes to your mind when you think of something your child avoids. Second, create a 30-day plan with checkboxes for each day. Finally, dedicate some time each day to helping your child perform these activities with no excuses. Listen, dear parent, I might not know you, and maybe I never will. But listen, your child has what it takes, so help them prove it to the world. Make it happen. There's no one there to push your child except you. You're the only one who's going to hold them accountable. I understand how difficult it can be, but no one will care if they don't succeed. Your child is going to face many challenges, but don't let them stop you. Giving up is not an option. Your child is incredible until they quit, so don't let them quit.